Hello, everyone. So get right into it. I was doing a little writing today, just specifically about the topic of suicide, but I stumbled upon a further realization on the importance of paradoxes in life and how paradoxes are so pivotal in our the beliefs we have for our own selves. So we've talked about before how things like accepting life as difficult so that it becomes easy, and that's not just saying, oh, life is difficult, but actually living it out as if it's difficult. A couple of ways is kind of just understand understanding that whenever you come to, maybe it'd be better if we use examples. So um, getting into shape. So getting into shape is hard. It is hard, but once you accept it is hard, you are able to say, hey, you know what? It's supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be hard to get up to go to the gym, or it's supposed to be hard to do this, but it's a lot easier if I do it this way. Oh, it's a lot funner if I do it this way and make it a less taxing on my body. Even though it is hard, I find this better than this. I don't think I'm explaining myself well enough, but the acceptance of oh my god, my little a thing drops for my HEB, a teapot. Anyways, the acceptance of having working out as being difficult, to stop saying, oh my god, this is so difficult, to um, saying that at, oh my god, it's so difficult, expecting it to be easy or life to be easy, uh, is something that I don't know if it's programmed in our brain or if it's relate to us in culture, but it's something we need to be able to grain ourselves out of, to stop thinking of life as easy. So saying these phrases of, oh, why is this so difficult, instead of, oh, why is this so easy? And just saying that is or I think the main thing is the expectation that at working out and having a healthy diet is somehow different from life, which most people think should be easy. Well, it's not. Diet and diet, your exercising, your social whole environment, your workplace, your relationships with people, all the even your walks, even in dealing with your depression and anxiety. That is life. All of that is life. Me talking to the camera right now is interacting with life. Even if I didn't do anything with life, that's still a choice I made in the canvas of life. So it's whether you like it or not, everything you engage in is part of life. And if you think that life should be easy, then it's going to be a rude awakening, because everything you interact with is part of life. And guess what? Relationships are hard. Going to work out is hard. Going to having a diet is hard. Hard. Interacting with people is hard. Hard. Interacting with yourself is hard. And even even things that we regard as easy. So let's say video games. There is many times where my father has cursed at the TV. It's just that video games make it much easier for you to play them and get addicted to them, or not even addicted to them, but get you more or enveloped in them. But at the end of the day, there's still activity that you have to partake in, and it's still difficult. It's still, I think people can attest that if a game's way too easy, then it's not fun. It's not even fun to play. It's one that it's just enough where you feel awesome, like you're the best ever, but you can't just go around sandboxing and killing everyone. And that's the same with life. It's hard. It's difficult. Everything you do is difficult. Even sleeping. It's not easy to get on a sleep schedule. Like, I mean, it might be, but I know for me right now, there's like 20 other things I want to do besides go to sleep, but I know it's a pivotal part of my health. So I try to make sure I get 7.5 hours of sleep. But lately, I've been getting like six, like some days, six on others, and it's taken a toll on me. So even that aspect is hard. So in that paradox, once we finally start accepting that, just every aspect of life is just difficult. It's difficult. It's hard. Then it starts becoming easier. So whenever I don't get a lot of sleep, uh, and the next day I feel groggy and tired, I don't go, man, why do I feel groggy and tired? It's, oh yeah, life is hard. Not life is hard. Oh yeah, I didn't get a lot of sleep. Uh, I probably should do that better next time because life isn't going to let me off the hook for this. And it becomes easier because now, okay, I know what I need to do. I just do that. I feel rested and I keep doing that. And if I go off course, I do that. And there's no complaining or explaining into it because I've accepted that this is one of the restrictions of life that I have to abide by. And now is a lot easier because I don't have to struggle with life anymore. I just, you know what? I have to go to sleep. Okay. Uh, we can relate it back to the gym and diet. Oh yeah, I have to eat healthy and go exercise my body so that it doesn't and I don't get as many diseases or aren't as vulnerable to diseases and aren't as I'm able to physically do things that I wouldn't able to do because there are restrictions in life. You can't just eat a bunch of candy and just think it's going to be okay because life's hard. But once you've accepted that, I've found things that I enjoy with physical exercise that, make life really fun. Even though there's some days I just don't want to go to the gym. I get there and I get a lot of energy because I partake in activities that I like. It's not easy sometimes. It's not odd. It's, like I said, difficult, but I've accepted it. I accepted it's difficult. And I think that's important thing to talk about because it leads to paradoxes. And it's that paradox of life is difficult. And once you accept it, it's easy. But I want to shift it to the depression and anxiety and suicide. So wrapped, I haven't condensed all my thoughts into this yet, but I've been writing today a lot about it, and I kind of want to talk about it. So the late David Foster Wallace, he com- well, not recently, but he committed suicide 2008. And he was a well-known literary figure in the writing world. And what I have discovered, what I think I have discovered, let's say that, with his life, is that he always talked about the terrible master, which is the mind. He always talked about it as the terrible master that is controlling us and controlling him. That's how why he was getting into these depressions. He was as not controlled, but it was so oppressive against him. But what I think was going on is that I think unconsciously he was thinking that there should be a state somehow different than what the mind should be. He wasn't accepting the mind as it was, or his mind as it was, and thus was struggling against it. And what's unfortunate about that is that if you don't accept yourself as you are, and you continuously struggle against it, you're going to lose. Because you're just like life has restrictions, like you need sleep, you need to eat, so does as the brain. And so does the body. And if you're always trying to struggle against the brain and the body, what's unfortunate is that the brain and body are going to win. And they always win. And that's what I've seen with David Foster Wallace, at least with what I've read so far, is that he tried to resist the terrible master by prescription drugs. I think he's did that too with his writing of writing The Infinite Jest and trying to put what his experiences down on paper of what is happening with the terrible master. But that fixation on the terrible master, on resisting the terrible master, of trying to understand the terrible master, is exactly how we got into descending into those deep dark places that we don't want to go to, because he kept struggling, and that kept deteriorating his will, until one point he said, it's not worth the struggle anymore. And I think that's what happened. And I want to compare this with another figure. And let me reiterate: I didn't know David Foster Wallace. I don't know this next character or person personally, so I can't say for sure what they were going through or what they were talking, what they were feeling. I can only go off of what they have told in public and what they have told people. But what this next person talked about, so Tim Ferriss, what Tim Ferriss has talked about with his clinical depressions seems more on the lines of not struggling, not caring, but accepting the clinical depression as it is. And he has a really good quote that I put on my Twitter today. I love it so much. It says, sometimes you need to struggle with your demons instead of struggle with them. And I think that's the embodiment of something like meditation. So, and of course, there's other reasons, like understanding that the ego is not non-existent. So the thing you understand as a walking whole personality isn't really a walking whole personality. It's more like you have connections, relationships with everything you react uh, uh, interact with, and all those interactions make you as this one an individual rather than you making everything around you. But specifically, what I think, well, not specifically, but what I also think meditation does as well is helps divorce you from that terrible mind. And not necessarily that you're controlling it or regulating it, but you're observing it. You're seeing that it's not the same thing as you. Meditation, if done right, helps you step back and observe all the external sounds, everything around you to being present, but also your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You observe them as they go by and you think about them. Not think about them, but you observe what they're saying. Not what they're saying, the feelings that are being felt, the emotional connections that come with those continuous thoughts. And then you begin to realize that those thoughts, that terrible master, that unconscious mind, isn't your self-awareness. It isn't your imagination. Not your imagination, but isn't your independent will to observe. It's not your consciousness. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's not your consciousness. It's your unconsciousness that's working. But you, as a conscious being, can observe those thoughts. And by observing those thoughts, you can accept them as they are. They're not going away. That's not life. They're there, are specifically, maybe, I think, for biological uh, purposes. But no matter what they come from, they're there. And you either struggle against them to try to get rid of them, which you never can do, and then end up, unfortunately, in David Foster Wallace's place, where you just don't want to struggle anymore, or you go down. There might be a third option. I don't know. I'm still thinking about this, but or you go down Tim Ferriss's route, which is getting to a point where you accept your mind as it is. It's not changing. It just is. And once you accept that it's not going to change, and that you get into these meditations and you just allow it to run, it does this weird thing where the voice that keeps screaming at you isn't as loud. Whereas, at least in my experiences, whenever I tried to resist those during my depression, to fight against them, the voices become really, 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 that voice of the unconscious becomes really, really loud. All those thoughts and anxiousness and depressions are just blaring. But once you accept them as they are and just let them go, they become very, very, very small. Very small voice. And just another unconscious voice that is going through your head. Not to say they're gone, but they're not the MTI military training instructor right next to you screaming in your face. They're more like just another normal voice in the room. And that's the idea behind like the paradoxes, is not accepting your unconscious voice makes the unconscious voice worse and more loud, let's say. Accepting your unconscious voice makes it smaller or less, more quiet. It quiets. And of course, this is that's the thing about belief is I don't necessarily think belief is just something you say, I believe this. It's something you act out, something you have to go through and continuously work on so that it's not you just believing through here, but you believing it here, just my heart, and here. And that's through your actions. It's what you do every day. It's what you say continuously all the time to not only others, but also to yourself. So, for example, me, one way I got out of my depression and anxious episodes was every time before dinner, I said something I was grateful for. I verbalized it. I said it out loud. I didn't let it just ruminate right here with all the other voices, as the unconscious voices. I actually verbalized it and said it. So that it's kind of like a coin in a piggy bank. You say it enough times that that piggy bank, which is the unconscious mind, starts to get heavy. So, if you put enough coins into the gratitude unconsciousness, then your unconscious thoughts become more of gratitude rather than depression or anxiety. Not to say, hey, you're going to override them because there are other biological factors and each person is different. Remember, 50% and of our ourselves are genetic and biological, but 40% is our own choice, and then 10% is our environment. So let's focus on what we can control, and that is accepting the 50% of your mind and what it is, so that you can have more control in your own life. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And man, this book is good. Well, I mean, not good for reading, but it's fun. I'm having a really good time with it. So I'm excited to see where it goes, and hopefully we get somewhere good and can support people, help people, because that's ultimately what I want from this novel, is to help people who are struggling and try to find ways to do that are healthy and not detrimental to the person or the people around them. So, we'll see. Who knows? But other than that, I will see y'all tomorrow. Yeah. Bye.